The debate on reinstating compulsory military service in Poland has reignited. The head of the Polish National Security Bureau, Sławomir Cęckiewicz, has stated that the current situation is a good moment to bring it back. What does the government say about this? What does it mean in practice? And how are Poles reacting to this news? Compulsory military service aims to prepare citizens to defend the country in the event of war. The scope and rules of conscription will be specified in a relevant law. Regardless of the duration of service, the principles would remain unchanged. Eligible citizens would undergo military training.
Czyli musimy odwiesić.
We must reinstate compulsory military service. We must devote more time to training the public. NATO is looking for tools that will prove to be a response to growing pressure from Russia. Among the threats, experts mention military pressure on NATO's eastern flank, including military maneuvers and the transfer of illegal migrants, cyber attacks and destabilization campaigns, sabotage, disinformation. The head of the President's office spoke about this in an interview with Super Express. Various options need to be considered, but no decision has been made in this regard.
Musimy zacząć mówić.
We must start talking about threats directly, including by preparing society for these threats. The last conscription into the army took place in 2008. Formerly, compulsory military service was suspended in 2010 by the Minister of Defense at the time, Bogdan Klich. He was repeatedly criticized for this decision, especially in the context of other demilitarization measures taken by Donald Tusk's previous government. More than 15 years after the ill-advised suspension of conscription, the Polish President's National Security Advisor is publicly calling for the return of compulsory service. I am pleased about this, not only as a politician who has long promoted the idea of universal national service and greater citizen involvement in Poland's security. For now, the government is not showing such a willingness. The President, on the other hand, is not saying no. Based on analyses and statistics, we do not have a big problem with people willing to join the Polish army today. There are many willing Polish patriots who want to undertake military training in the format of voluntary basic service. I encourage all Poles to join the voluntary basic service. I know that there are different models among our neighbours. The Minister of National Defence, Władysław Kosiniak-Kamysz, has a different opinion. He believes that concern for the security of the homeland should rest solely on the shoulders of the professional army. Now we need to strengthen the reserves and train them well. I'm in favour of universal training and strengthening the training of reservists. The head of the Ministry of National Defence previously indicated that the professional army is supplemented by a system of voluntary military service. There is no denying that the issue of compulsory military service is uncomfortable for politicians. Raising this issue by a particular political party could result in a loss of support among men. That is why politicians in the ruling coalition are calculating whether security or party interests are more important. Naturally, the topic is difficult for various reasons, but it does not have to be exactly the same model of compulsory military service that existed before 2010. Of course, one may think of various types of compulsory training. We asked Poles whether a social compromise is possible and whether, in their opinion, compulsory military service should be reinstated. I think so. If there was a war, would you defend your homeland? Yes. Yes. In Europe, 9 countries are seeking to strengthen their armies through compulsory military service. Denmark, Estonia, Finland, Greece, Latvia, Lithuania, Norway, Sweden and Turkey. Croatia, on the other hand, plans to reinstate it next year. It turns out that after the outbreak of the war in Ukraine, despite technological advances that are important, a large army cannot be replaced. Poland compares very favourably with other European countries in terms of the size of its army. The number of people willing to serve in our army is growing. The Polish army has over 175,000 soldiers, making it the 3rd largest armed force in NATO and the largest in Europe. However, methods that work in peacetime need to be reviewed in the face of growing geopolitical tensions.